can't remember.
That's all you Lexi! My turn now.
This world makes you
This
crazy.
whole part's my part.
Just sing.
Just
sing.
Just
call me up, 'cause I will always be there. And I see your true colors shine. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful.
like a rainbow. Like a rainbow.
Yeah, give it up. Well, good morning. Happy Mother's Day. If we can get just the house lights up real quick and have all of the moms that are here today, if y'all could stand up just real quick so that we can just applaud you and celebrate you today. Thank you so much for loving and caring and spanking and funding and rearing and all the things you do. We appreciate you so much. My mom is here today. She's here every Sunday, usually hidden behind a computer screen or a camera like she is this Sunday. So I want to give her a shout out. Yeah, sassy. I think, especially now as an adult, I appreciate more her role in our family than I did, of course, as a kid. I think that's pretty typical. But especially now being a mom, even more so. One, she babysits often, which is awesome, and I appreciate that. But also just, I understand now, I have a deeper gratitude and understanding of the sacrifices and the frustrations that come along with being a mom. And so I really appreciate her just on a different level now. And when I married Ethan, I gained not one, but two mother-in-laws. That sounds like a nightmare, I'm sure, to most people. But it actually ended up being a big blessing for me. Joy and Jane are incredible. Y'all, I'm real emotional today. I'm sorry. Joy and Jane are incredible, and I just feel blessed that I have three incredible godly mother figures in my life. And I know that that's not something to be taken for granted, because we do recognize that Mother's Day is not a happy day for a lot of people. And, maybe your mother has passed away, and that's really painful for you today. Or maybe you've desperately wanted to be a mom, and it hasn't happened, and that's really painful for you today. Or maybe you didn't have a great relationship with your mom, and she was around, and it was painful for you, and today is a painful day as well. So we want to recognize that as well, that this is not an easy day for everyone. We don't ever want to shy away from the hard things. We know that that's real, and it exists, and it's here in this room, I'm sure. So we see you, we hear you, we love you, and today's a good day for some and not for others, and that's okay. That's okay. I want to tell you, this is my 6th Mother's Day, and I'm so sorry, y'all. Ethan and I have 2 boys, as you saw in the video. Those are our children, not just random kids in our car. And they are wonderful kids. They inherited a knack for the dramatics, as I'm sure you could tell in the video. Not really sure where they got that from. I have no idea. Avery is our oldest. He will be 7 in October. And he is our affectionate, loving, kind of just warm, and he'll stop whatever he's doing to give you a kiss or a hug. He will love on anybody at any time, and he's extremely creative. He's constantly pretending to be somebody else. Last year, he went through a little phase where he insisted that everyone call him Flash. like the comic book hero, the Flash, and we obeyed as we were commanded. And he had his coaches and his teachers and his parents and everyone around him calling him the Flash. He's still kind of holding on to it. He was wearing a Flash shirt in the video, so we're slowly working our way out of that phase. But he's just sweet. To his core, he is just sweet. And then there's Reese. And if I'm being just really honest and transparent with you, we're not really sure about him yet. He's a little moody. He's extremely headstrong, but he's also really snuggly and emotional too. And so you just never know which one you're going to wake up to find, depending on the day. And he's sneaky, like really sneaky. And he will lie to your face and not think twice about it. And Avery can't lie to save his life. And I tell people a lot that we are saving up for college for Avery, and we're saving up probably for some bail money for Reese. So just to kind of paint you a picture, two boys, very different, but we love them the same. And just while we're on, Mother's Day, just to give you a little tip, if you're on the gifting side of today, all that a mom really and truly wants is the day off. That's it. Flowers, massages, that's awesome. We'll take those too. But you're pretty good with just giving us 24 hours of no snotty noses, no poopy diapers, no sticky hands. You give us 24 hours of that, and we will give you 364 days the rest of the year. So you're welcome. That was free. Usually, Ray or Jeff are standing up here, but I think this morning they really wanted just a wise and experienced maternal figure up here. They had no such luck in their search, so I am here instead. So with the 6 whole years that I have parenting children, I thought I would share just a few parenting truths that I have discovered over the past few years. Number 1, kids are gross. Can I get an amen? Yeah. Boys in particular are disgusting. In no other season of my life have my 5 senses been more challenged than when I became a mom. I have heard, seen, touched, smelled, and yes, even tasted things that I never thought I would have to in my entire life. We have a book in our house called My Quotable Kid, and it's just a cute little parenting journal. You write down just cute things that your kids say throughout the year. And so we have one for Avery, and we just started one for Reese. And I was just kind of thumbing through that over the past couple of weeks trying to prepare for this talk, and I came across this quote from Avery that I thought really brought this particular parenting truth home. Quote, "I just want to put my finger in my nose and get a booger and put it in my mouth and eat it like a sandwich." End quote. Avery Jackson Waters, age 3. So, update, we're at age 6 now with Avery, and we're still struggling with the booger sandwich eating. So just, if you could say a little prayer, we would appreciate those so much. Parenting truth number 2, any parent that has multiples, if you have more than one child, and you say that you don't have a favorite, you are lying, and we know it. Every parent has a favorite, and it changes because one day, Avery's little sweet, tender heart and his snuggly personality just wins me over, and I can't get enough of him. And then 2 days later, he's driving me crazy, and Reese's little chubby cheeks and his comedic timing put him right back in first place. So it changes every day. So if you thought you were the favorite kid, maybe. Some days you were, but some days I'm sure you weren't. So that's number 2. Number 3, everyone else, and this is pretty universally known, I don't think this is a big secret, everyone else knows how to parent your child better than you do. Yeah, y'all know. Between family and friends and coworkers and complete strangers, you can just assume that you're probably doing it wrong. And I will say social media has not helped with this because every day I'm constantly exposed to a new article of, that my child will inevitably end up in college remedial classes because I formula fed him or whatever the case may be. I saw this actually on social media this week and thought it was a perfect explanation of this. How to be a mom in 2017. Make sure your children's academic, emotional, psychological, mental, spiritual, physical, nutritional, and social needs are met, while being careful not to overstimulate, understimulate, improperly medicate, helicopter, or neglect them in a screen-free, processed foods-free, GMO-free, negative energy-free, plastic-free, body-positive, socially conscious, egalitarian but also authoritative, nurturing but fostering of independence, gentle but not overly permissive, pesticide-free, 2-story, multilingual home, preferably in a cul-de-sac, with a backyard and 1.5 siblings spaced at least 2 years apart for proper development. Also, don't forget the coconut oil. How to be a mom in literally every generation besides ours. Yeah. How to be a mom in literally every generation besides ours. Just feed them sometimes. So you can see the difference. I'm at the age where most of my girlfriends have at least one, if not two or more children. So a lot of our conversations, you can imagine, revolve around children. A lot of it's about baby weight, both ours and the babies, or if we should vaccinate or not, what TV shows are dangerous for our children to watch. And I'm realizing the more I'm having these conversations that we're really becoming consumed with fear and doubt and worry. And it's not surprising because that's all we see all the time. We are constantly exposed to the worst case scenario of every single scenario. And because of this, we're becoming tricked into believing that evil and corruption and disease are just running rampant all over the place. And that's just kind of absurd. We're missing the wonder of watching our children develop and learn because we are arranging their lives to be over-sanitized, overreactive, and overwhelmed with fear. And that fear isn't just plaguing the mommy generation. It's really kind of the culture that we live in. We live in a fear-based culture. And because of that, we too are missing the opportunity to learn and develop and expand and open ourselves to things. We're continuing our series this week on the Beatitudes, and so this week we'll be highlighting Matthew 5:7, which says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy." And last week, Jeff spoke on Matthew 5:6 that says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled." And he really emphasized the importance of understanding the origin of the words. And so I thought I'd take kind of a similar approach this morning as well. So does anybody know who created Mother's Day or what it was created for? You're like me, probably thinking Hallmark to fill in that gap between Valentine's and Christmas. We are both wrong. It was actually created by a woman named Julia Ward Howe in 1870. And Julia, yeah, we've got a picture of her. She was an activist in every sense of the word. She and her husband operated an anti-slavery magazine, newspaper. I don't think they had magazines back then. Newspaper during the American Civil War. And I thought this was really interesting in my research. She wrote the battle hymn of the Republic. Yeah, I was really impressed with that. And then I did a little bit more digging, and she sold it for $5. That's kind of crazy when you think glory, glory, hallelujah, that we still sing now. She sold for $5. And I know what some of us are thinking, that a man would have made $7, maybe. But she was really instrumental in the creation of Mother's Day. And believe it or not, her vision had nothing to do with Hallmark or massages or even getting a day off. Her dream was that Mother's Day would be a day for all women around the world to gather together and discover more ways to love, to bring world peace, to show mercy and kindness to a hurting world. I just thought that was so beautiful. And it's a little bit sad that we've kind of turned her vision for world peace and we've kind of put it back onto our vision of consumerism. But I think what resonates with me more than anything else about her original intent for Mother's Day is that it so closely aligns with what we've been called as Christ followers to be here on earth. That we're to gather and to love and to show mercy. And sometimes it feels really foreign for us to do that because most of the time our world is becoming more divided and bitter and callous. But we've been commanded to love and care for our neighbors with no exceptions. And we know this because the Bible is full of examples where God is telling us that. He even sent his son as a living example of what that looks like, because that's how important it is. Throughout the New Testament, Jesus was always talking about the importance of caring for others. We know the story of the Good Samaritan, the story of the prodigal son, bringing his son home, opening his arms. It's just a beautiful picture of mercy and grace and love. And we miss opportunities to live this out all the time. And I think kind of a foundational problem of that is that we have a false sense of ownership. Rob Bell, who Ray and Ethan kind of use his illustrations a lot, but he did a really great talk on this. And he references the parable in Matthew 20 that depicts God as a landowner. And so the landowner goes out at the beginning of the day and he hires all of these workers to come in and work on his field. So they're working, and about halfway through the day, he goes and he hires some more workers. So they come in, they work, and then at the end of the day, the workers who had been there all day assumed that they would get more than the workers who had been there just half the day. Well, to their surprise, they were all paid equally. And the full-day workers were a little not happy about that, and they made kind of a stink about it. And the landowner overheard them complaining about it, and he said, "Do I not have the right to my own money? Are you envious because I'm generous?" And we live in a world where the expectation is that if we take a series of steps, we can expect a certain outcome. I worked 40 hours this week doing this particular skill. I should earn this much money. Or to put it, a different way, I was born within an identified area of the world, and so because of this, I'm entitled to specific rights. But when we think like this, we start to convince ourselves that we're more deserving than others of certain luxuries or allowances or sometimes just basic human freedoms. And as Christ followers, the more we do this, the more we view our lives as more valuable than our coworkers or our homeless community or our LGBTQ community or our Black brothers and sisters or the Syrian family that's seeking refuge. The more we do this, the more we are making the very dangerous argument that we know more than God, or worse, that we matter more to God. Are we envious because he's generous? Do we truly believe that we're more deserving than another child of God? Are we forfeiting the chance to gather and love and to show mercy because we are blinded by our own false sense of entitlement? I'm going to invite Ethan up here to play a song for me real quick. As I was preparing for this talk, I remembered this song, and it's by Israel Houghton, who we do a lot of his songs here, and they're usually kind of big band songs. So this one's a little bit different than his typical sound, but it's just very scaled back and beautifully written. But it's such a great reminder that we have been given much in this life, and when much is given, much is required.
I see the state of the world and it grieves me. I hear the cries of the broken through the rich and the poor. I smell the fear of disease all around me. I feel responsible now that I've seen, because we all I wanna love like you love. children unseen, and they move me. I wonder what I can do to improve 1,000 lives. I feel the absence of love, and it scares me. I wonder what I can do. Oh, 'cause we all were born to live for more than this, so much more than this. I wanna love like you love, love like you love. Wanna love others the way that you love me. I wanna love like you love, love like you love. I wanna love others the way that you love me. Yeah. I wanna love like you love, love like you love. Help me love others the way that you love me. I wanna forgive like you forgave, and rescue like you have saved others the way that you love me, the way that you love me.
I love that song so much. God continues to pour love and grace and mercy into us, and then we get to turn around and pour those out on the people around us. I remember seeing a quote on a friend's page a few years back that stuck with me, and I can't remember who said it. We'll put it up on the screen, but it said, "I'm not responsible for filling someone else's cup. I'm only responsible for pouring mine out." Takes a little bit of the pressure off of us, doesn't it? I think this false sense of ownership really is a lot stronger when you're a parent. I love my children. I mean, it really is, it's a love unlike anything. They are a gift. And I think we forget that sometimes, that they're a gift, that God gave them to us, that they first belonged to Him, and for whatever reason, He put them in our lives. I carried them, I birthed them. We're slowly trying to figure out how to raise them. But they're God's first. He gave them to us. And I know, as hard as it is to imagine, He loves them so much more than I'm capable of. In our house, we have this large print of lyrics from a Bob Dylan song called Forever Young. And sometimes when I'm tucking the boys in for bed, I'll sing that song to them. And I'm not going to sing it this morning because I've already choked up enough times, so we'll let that rest. But I did want to read the words to you. And it says, "May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young." And I was singing this the other night, and for the first time, I really kind of focused on that first line, "May God bless and keep you always." Not mom, not dad, not education or success. And yes, I want to see these little humans that we're raising, I want to see them grow up to be incredible adults who are passionate and live a life where they're thriving and they're doing good things. But my greatest responsibility as a parent is to show them how to love. And not just love their family or their friends or the people around them, but how to love everyone that they come in contact with, because that is the greatest commandment we've been given. And when we build barricades and we keep doors locked and we run interference so that we can keep what's ours safe and secure, we miss the chance to show God's love to our children. So what does this look like for us? That's great. Show love, care for others, whatever. What does that look like for us? What would it really look like in our world to love and care for God's children the way he's commanded us to show mercy the way that he's shown mercy to us? I think a good starting place is in our community. Open your eyes to those around you. And your community could be as close as your family or your friends or your coworkers. When's the last time you said a kind word to the cashier or struck up a conversation with your waitress? I think that's where it starts. Those are the little steps. That's how we get started. Next, I think we have to stop, especially in today's society, we have to stop investing our time and our thoughts in what the news and the media say. They can be great resources. They can be when they are. But they're not the end word. They're not the final say. And if we're spending too much time investing in what they say and what they believe, we're missing it. We're giving them a little too much credit and authority in our lives, and because of that, we're missing it. And I think another thing that we can do to live this out is to make intentional efforts to expose ourselves and our children to diversity. Ethan and I have made a conscious decision to raise our family in a community where we are not the majority. And we feel really strongly that we and our children will benefit from interacting with people of different races and social classes every day. And that doesn't mean that that's what you need to do, and I'm not saying that to say that we're a shining example. I'm just saying that's what we have chosen to do, to introduce ourselves and our children to diversity. And diversity means just that. I mean, it's so different for everyone. What's diverse for us? We are white. Our children are white. I'm the whitest of us all. So our diversity is going to look different than other people's diversity, and that's okay. And diversity isn't just about race. It could be diversity of thought. Are you having conversations with people who think differently than you? Like deep conversations that matter to get a different perspective or a broader understanding of something? Or do all of your friends and family think and believe the same way you do? Are you being stretched at all? Andrew Solomon, author and philanthropist, says this: "It is nearly impossible to hate someone whose story you know." And I think the more we get to know people and the more we let down those walls and we let down those barricades, the more we know their story. And the more you know their story, it's just a natural reaction to love them. It just comes naturally. When I was pregnant with Reese, I had a legitimate fear that I could not love another child as much as I loved Avery. People would ask me, "Oh, are you nervous about having another child? Like, you're going to be busy, your hands full?" And it's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to love it as much. I'm just being real honest. And then Reese was born, and I realized I didn't give my heart enough credit. It's so much bigger than I realized. And y'all, the more we open our hearts, the more we open our homes, the more we open our lives, the more we get to gather and love, and the better it gets. The greater our resources are, and the more effective our love will be. And it doesn't run out. There's no maximum capacity for how much you can love. We're just simply building a bigger table for more to gather and love. In Julia Ward Howe's initial proclamation of Mother's Day, she says, "Arise then, women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts, whether your baptism be that of water or of tears. Let us meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let us then solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace. Man as the brother of man, each bearing after his own kind the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God." I love that, the great human family. Peter Arnett from CNN tells the following story. I was reporting from the West Bank and a terrorist bomb went off. Bodies were flying through the air. There was blood all over. A man came running up to me, holding in his hands a girl that was badly wounded, bloody from head to toe. And the man holding this little girl in his arms said to me, "Mister, the soldiers have sealed off the area. They won't let anybody in or anybody out. You can see she's going to die if I don't get her out of here. You're the press. You can help me. Please, please help me." Peter Arnett said, "What can I do?" I threw them in the back of my car and I covered them with a blanket, and we made our way through the lines. And on the way to Tel Aviv, he kept saying, "Go faster, please, mister, go faster." And I could hear him moaning, "I'm losing her, I'm losing her." Peter said, when we got to the hospital, we rushed the girl into the operating room, dropped her on the table, came out and sat out on the bench outside the operating room, totally dissipated and exhausted because of the tension we had just been through. I was taking a deep breath when the doctor came out of the room and said, "She's dead." The man convulsed in tears. He screamed and he cried, and I put my arm around him and I tried to comfort him. I said to him, "I don't know what to say. I've never had children. I don't know what it's like to lose a daughter." The man looked up at me and said, "Well, that little girl isn't my daughter. That Palestinian little girl is not mine. I'm a Jewish settler." And then he said, "But maybe the time has come when all of us must learn to look on every child as a son and a daughter. Maybe the day has come when we must discover what it means to be a part of the family of God." We are in this together. All of us, not just in this room, not just in this state, not just in this country. This world belongs to God. Our children belong to God. He has shown us mercy, and it's our responsibility to do the same to the people around us. I'm going to ask the band and the ladies to come back up, and we're going to close with a song. But I hope more than anything this Mother's Day that we walk away with a better understanding of the great human family. And that this Mother's Day, may we look for ways to gather and love and show mercy to the people around us. Because we're all in this together. We're all a part of the great human family.
Among us has not been broken. Who here among us is not without guilt or pain? So oft abandoned by our transgressions. If such a thing as God exists, then grace was made for their lives like this.